Hey y'all, and welcome back. Welcome to the final video for me for 2021. I cannot believe we are here. Today is the day that I'm going to be sharing with you guys my #1 palette from 2021. And as I already said, this is the very last video I'm going to be posting for 2021. So when you're seeing this, there's hours left in 2021 before we enter into 2022. We'll see what 2022 brings us. But yeah, as I said, today I'm going to be showing you guys what was the #1 palette out of all 60 or plus 60, somewhere around there, palettes that I tried in 2021. Which palette stood out of all of them as being the best of the best and my absolute favorite from the ones I tried this year. If you've been following along or if you missed any of them, definitely go back and check. But I've been sharing with you guys my top 20. And once I got to 5, I stopped. I've been doing a dedicated video for the #5 palette, #4 palette, #3 palette, #2 palette. And today is the #1 palette that we're going to be doing. So if you missed any of those videos, I have them all linked down in the description box if you'd like to go watch them afterwards and see where I place the other palettes. And if you watched them already, let me know down in the comments if you guessed it was this palette for my #1 from 2021. But anyway, yeah, let's go ahead and just reveal it to you guys. The #1 palette from 2021 that I tried is the Beauty Bay Wilderness palette. I know, everyone probably guessed this one right away, but y'all, this palette is not only an amazing grungy palette, but it's got so much like variety to it. It's got so much interest about it. Like you can just do so much with this palette. I took this palette with me on a trip that I went a couple months back, and this was the only palette I had for a little over a week, and I never got bored when I was using this palette. Like each day I was able to kind of move around the palette and create looks that were just so me, so easy to blend, so easy to work with, so sparkly when it came to the shimmers, and I was never, as I said, never bored. And even though I've used it, for a week then, and I used it, I think I created 8 or 9 looks when I originally reviewed this. I forget. You'll have to check my palette palooza. I've used this palette so many times, and still when I look at it, I can see so many different ways I can put looks together that I haven't done before, and that just excites me in a palette. So obviously, this easily gets the #1 spot because it's got a great color story, a great matte formula, a great shimmer formula, and the color story is just speaks to my heart. So yeah, this palette got #1 spot. I do think it's limited edition. I don't know if it's available anymore. I'm so sorry if it's not, but regardless, it's still my favorite palette from 2021, so hence it got this spot, and I'm going to be doing a tutorial with it today. So yeah, let's go ahead and zoom on close and get something on my eyes. I always feel naked when I have my whole face done and nothing on my eyes, so let's change that and do one final look with this palette for 2021. Okay, so I think I know what I want to do. I'm actually going to take inspiration from this Instagrammer who I'll link her down below, but it's like loose_sweater. There is her handle, but she did this did this picture, but this eye look right here on this side is so pretty. I love the bright green around it and then the dark red on the outer corner, kind of going into like that gold, not even gold, but like that shimmery bright, almost duochrome shimmer that's in this palette. And so I kind of want to do something like this. I don't know about if I'll do exactly like this, but this is the inspiration, so I just want to show you guys before we dive into it that I am going to be kind of referencing that in my head just because I love how the bright green really makes the red pop. So let me go ahead and prime my eyes because I totally forgot to do that, and then we'll jump in. Alright, so I just used the Gerard Clean Canvas eye base for my eyes today, blend it out, brought it down a little bit. I know it looks a little bit weird, but it just helps me blend everything and make sure I don't have any weird spots. At least that's the plan. So I think what I want to start to do is I'm going to start with the greens, working in the crease, getting it how I like it, and then I'm going to use that darkest red and I'm going to kind of create a kind of wing / full cut crease. I haven't decided if I'm going to go full cut crease or just do a wing with the red and then do something else in the outer corner. We're making this up as we go. So I'm just going to grab a little fluffy brush. Let's go with, I don't know. Let me go with this one, which is the E45 brush. I'm going to pick up Leaf. I don't know if I want to go darker than Leaf in the inner corner or like in my crease. So I'm going to start with this, see how dark it is, and then I can always add a little bit more depth. And because I have another color on top, that'll also help it, not go too overboard. So I'm just going to start with this and just work on getting a nice seamless blend with this shadow. Ugh, this palette, year after year, I have those palettes where, I claim them as the #1 and I love it so much, but I feel like those top few are just the ones that really hurt not to constantly go back to, and this for sure is going to be one of them. I remember last year with the palette I named #1, You can check that video out. I'll leave it up here if you would like to see it. But that palette, I've gone back to it just because I do love that palette. And this is another one, like, even as I said in the beginning, I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, I never put those together. Oh, I never put that together. And I kind of want to. So I'm like, maybe I need to go back to this a little bit sooner than I thought. Okay, so this is definitely a darker shade than I was anticipating. Or not anticipating, but just thinking. I hope I went into the right shade. I think I did. Sometimes when I double dip, I like dip into the wrong one because it's just looking a little bit more like eucalyptus, but I think I dipped into leaf. Anyway, I'm just gonna work at blending this out. And I think I'm gonna add a little bit of that, maybe the marigold, kind of like that mustard shadow, because I was wanting this to be very warm in the crease here, because I feel like that's just gonna contrast really nicely with the red. I'm also gonna bring it out here a little bit. Like so, and I'm gonna do it to this other side and then we'll move on. Okay, so here's where we're at. I'm gonna take a little bit of a fluffier brush. This is the Profusion ES3 brush. I'm gonna dip into that marigold, just a touch of it. I almost wonder if I should go stick to green, but I kinda want it, like I said, to be really warm and light, and I'm just gonna take it along the edges, just the teeniest bit, tap it off really nice, and then go right on top, just to add a little bit of something. I really don't know what I'm going for, but I'm just making this up as I go, kind of feeling it out. You know a look I never did with this, but I saw someone on Instagram when I was scrolling through the wilderness hashtag, I saw someone do a very like springy look with this, and they use the pastel green and the pastel blue. And oh my goodness, I never really thought to do pastel, like an all pastel look with this palette, but you totally could because those shades are in here. See, that's the part I just love about this palette. It's just, some of the looks you get out of here, you would never guess came from this palette because it's like either so like icy blue. It's just like, wow, where'd you create that look? And it's like, oh my goodness, the wilderness palette, nice. Okay, I think I like how that looks. Okay, so now I don't know if it's gonna stick well, so I'm gonna take this little slanted brush, and I'm gonna take the darkest red in the palette, which is this shade here called Raw, and I'm gonna see if I can stamp it down. If not, then I think I'm gonna use a little concealer to do this. Typically if I do this, I feel like I do it first on top of the wet concealer because it stamps the best. However, I didn't really want to blend green on top of the red because I just felt like that would, I don't know, not work very well. And of course, now that I'm putting it on top, maybe I need to do some concealer. You know what, I am going to do that because the red is turning a little bit dark from the green and I don't want that. So back it up a bit. Let me fix this with a little bit of concealer. Okay, concealer, Makeup Revolution concealer to the rescue. Now I'm going to take another little slant. This is a really tiny one. 208 from BK Beauty. I'm going to pick up that red again and let's tap it over. I didn't get it too cleaned up there, but I'm just putting red back over it. So I really didn't care if the red was covered. My main thing is that I really want the red to pop and not get too like browned out, I guess you could say. But anyway, so that's why I kind of want to do the concealer, just to help it pop a little bit more. Maybe this was an unnecessary step, but it's a step I'm taking, so hopefully it was worth it. I've really been kind of playing around with the winged out look out here. I've really been enjoying it, so that's why I've been doing it, I feel like, frequently. But anyway, I'm going to do this all in the matte eyeshadow. I'm gonna bring it up here and around like this. And I think that's as high as I'm gonna take it. And then I think the rest will be shimmer. I feel like that'll go best with my eye shape, not to really commit to the full cut crease, but almost like a faux cut crease. I guess a faux full cut crease, just make it a little bit soft right in this area where I feel like I usually struggle to make a full cut crease look good on me. What do you guys think? I think that looks okay. I'm going to catch this side up and then I'll probably also bring this forward a little bit, but then we'll move on to the shimmers because I'm going to put shimmers to kind of connect this around. Do I want to put anything darker in here? I might put a little bit of darker green. I don't know. I'll think on it as I do this side. Okay, so I am back, and I actually, when I was doing this, I felt like it was looking a little bit more purpley on the outer corner just because I think, you know, the dark color against the green, and even with the concealer, it was just deepening up a little bit. So I went and took the brightest red, which is Poppy in the palette there, and I just tapped a little bit over. So I'm going to do that to this side. Maybe it didn't make a huge difference, but it makes a little bit of a difference to me. It just makes it a little bit more of a vibrant red. probably not the best brush for for this task, but it is tiny, so it's getting up in here really well. But anyway, I'm just gonna tap it over just to make sure the red is popping a little bit more than like any purple hues in that shadow. And then we'll move on, as I said, to the shimmers and finishing out this look. But so far, I think it's turning out pretty good. Definitely a look I haven't done with this palette. So that's always a nice goal of mine whenever I do these end of the year. It's like, okay, I've already, you know, featured these palettes on my channel. Let's, you know, do something a little bit different. All right, I just switched to a little pencil brush just to diffuse out the edges. I feel like the little liner brush, which is a nice little liner brush, I tell you, that is very detailed. Reminds me of the Sigma EO6 brush. That was tiny. Okay, there. I really like how nice and punchy and like red that is. Okay, so now I want to take a flat brush. Let's go with this one. This is one of the Metamorphosis ones, I think. Yeah. And we're going to go into this red shimmer, Heat, right here. And we're going to pack that on the outer half as well. And Beauty Bay's shimmers are super sparkly and like so pigmented. Like, look how nicely that is applying. And there's so much sparkle to it. Easy to pick up on a brush. Oh my goodness. You guys, it's just all the things that I like in a shadow is here. Not all of them are like this. This red is definitely just one of my favorites because it's so pigmented. It picks up easy with a brush and it's not like super crumbly or flaky. A couple of the ones in here are flaky. I think mainly the lightest kind of champagne-y one, what is that called? Fossil. I think that's definitely the flakiest just because as I'm working with it, picking it up, it does like to kind of puddle up or just flake up into the pan and make a mess or into the palette, but like so much sparkle. It looks so fun. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and just do this and then I'll catch, and we'll just finish with this eye and then I'll catch that one up. I'm gonna take another flat brush. This is the F70 and I'm gonna go into Ray. That shade right there, one of my favorites, and we're gonna pack this. Oh, this one's also a little flaky, or not even flaky, but like it's a very super shock type of formula. So when you stab it, it almost kind of wants to like puddle up like a gel or something like that. But anyway, oh my goodness, so intense. Oh, I didn't use a glitter glue. You guys, I always do that. Why did I forget? Oh my goodness. Sorry, we're not using a glitter glue with this one. Maybe I'll spray it in a minute to help it lay down and really cut in here. I just feel like these two are gonna look so fun on the lid mixed with this, like going into this red. What do you guys think? I think that's pretty. Very Christmassy look, even though Christmas is over for you guys. I am recording this before Christmas. Christmas is in a couple days, this weekend. So I feel very, very festive. Okay, so I'm gonna take a little bit of this. It's one of the reasons that I do enjoy always using a glitter glue. Even if maybe the shadow doesn't need it or like the quality of it doesn't need it in order to stay all day on my lids, I feel like the tackiness, the wetness that it gives my lids just help things, like when I want to do the faux cut crease, helps it pop more and just gets nice and crisp, and also just as intense on this shimmer as possible. Maybe it's all in my head. Maybe you guys don't see a difference whenever I use shimmer or not, but I feel like I do. Or not shimmer, whenever I use a glitter primer or not. Anyway, I'm just gonna blend these two together for a bit, back and forth like I do. I'm gonna go ahead and catch this eye up and then we'll come back for the lower lash line. All right, so I'm back, both eyes are caught up. I really like how it's turning out. Kinda am regretting not taking a tiny bit more depth of the green in there, but I think it looks fine. That's just me being a little bit nitpicky. So now I want to do the lower lash line and kind of finish out the look, and then I'll go off screen for my usual when I do mascara. I'm not going to do a wing liner though because I feel like this is definitely the look. But for my waterline, I like to put that in when I remember before blending things out. I'm gonna go ahead and use this from NYX Cosmetics. It's their Faux Blacks. This is an Ox Blood that I need to sharpen, but it's a really nice deep dark red. One of these days I will sharpen it, hopefully next time, because it's getting pretty down there. Okay, so let's go on to the lower lash line. What should we do? I'm getting a little bit of fallout. I don't know if you guys can see. I see some I see red and green shimmer. That is, I forgot. That's why I always do the glitter primer, or the glitter I forgot that's definitely with this palette a must when it comes to the prep work for this palette. Is it definitely does fall on my face if I don't put a primer underneath these shimmers. Totally forgot about that. And this base, oh man, shoot, I didn't even see that that had some matte eyeshadow there. Okay, my under eyes are gonna be a mess today. That's fine, I just have to run to the store after naps. Not a big deal, but we're gonna go ahead and finish out the lower lash line, and I think I'm going to focus on the greens but take it really dark. So I'm gonna go into Ivy, and then I'll probably take, we'll do Leaf to blend it out because Leaf is pretty dark, and then Marigold, which is that orange, or not orange, but like mustard shade. I'll use that if I feel like I need to soften it out. You guys see the little bits of red shadow? I kind of smeared it into my skin because I didn't know it was there. And now it doesn't want to come out. Great. Okay, just like that. This shade is so intense, it does not take any work. And then I'm gonna use the same brush. I'm just gonna clean it off with a little color switch thing. And then I'm gonna take that Leaf shade that we used in the crease. Gonna blend that all over it. And I am gonna take a little bit of Marigold on this brush, and we're gonna blend it right on top of the green. So I don't really want this shade to like stand out on its own as like, oh, you used a kind of mustard shade there. I want it to mesh with the greens and just kind of, I don't know, grunge it up a little bit. Help to soften it out like that. Oh my goodness, this look is turning out so fun. I kind of honestly want to recreate it for Christmas, for our Christmas party here. Even though like I'm someone who like never really recreates looks. Like once I do a look, I'm kind of, I mean, maybe I'll accidentally redo it when I'm doing a makeup look, but I'm not one to try to replicate a look again, specifically for something, but I'm kind of tempted. Okay, at this point, let's go ahead and I'll just do the inner corner with y'all. I'm just gonna take this shade here, which is Fossil. I said it's the flakiest one from the palette, and I'm going to use, let's use this brush here. It's an E30, but I'm going to get a little on my brush, and then I am going to spritz it because I feel like that definitely helps hold all the flakies in place so it doesn't make my eyes start to water. And then I'm going to stop for mascara time. Put that on like that, and then, oops, try not to get carried away. And very gently blend. Like that. The shimmers in this palette are just so intense. I love them. Okay, so that's going to do it for this eye look. I'm gonna go off screen and put some mascara on so we can see the complete look with some lashes going on. But I really like how it turned out. I don't do full cut creases often because I feel like it really points out the fact that my eyes aren't really syncing together often. They're, you know, kind of each going their own direction. But oh well, it's a fun look. I'm gonna try to clean up my under eyes, and then we can come back for the final look and we'll see how it all looks like together. So be right back. All right, so I am back. Here is the completed look. I'll stick up close-ups as I've always done, and overall, this is a really fun look. Definitely something different, I feel like, than what I would typically go for, especially even just like looking at this palette, but also just the style as well is very different for me. So I'm glad I saw that like picture inspiration and really wanted to kind of do something a little bit different, because overall I think it turned out really, really pretty. I love how sparkly the lid is. I love the red shimmer as well. It's so very sparkly, and then I just like how it goes to that full cut crease look. It's something, as I said, very different for me, but it's nothing too harsh. So I definitely also feel like it kind of goes with my eye shape a little bit better than like a full hard cut crease, because I feel like those just tend to, like I said, show how differently my eyes sit on my face, because one is more downturned, one is more hooded. And like I said, this just kind of gives me that full cut crease look, gives me that really big wing liner look, but without being too crazy with the inner corner or like the inner cut crease of it, being very soft and gentle right there where it meets, which is always the hard part for me when it comes to full cut creases. So definitely a technique I'm gonna have to try in the future. Overall though, I really like how this look turned out, and I'm not even joking when I say I might recreate this for Christmas, maybe with a different palette, but I really like the green with the red being, you know, the full cut crease with the big wing. That being red with this green is just a lot of fun. I really like how it turned out. And yeah, that's going to be my look for the Wilderness palette, the final look that I did with it in 2021. Like I said, this is a palette I definitely can foresee myself reaching for time and time again in the future. And most definitely, if I go on any vacations in 2022, this is a palette I can take, because it's just one palette that makes packing nice and easy, but it has so many possibilities in here that I'm never bored in it. And I love the matte formula, and I love the shimmer formula, and it's just all in this nice little palette that wasn't very expensive. I don't know what it is like now if you're trying to like buy it on a repurchasing site, if it's no longer, you know, being sold anymore, but I bought it for $15, which is just like a crazy steal of a price, and if you missed it, I am so sorry. So yeah, that is gonna do it. That is my final look. This is the end of the final video for 2021. Yeah, I don't even know what to say to close it out, but just to say thank you guys for all the support this year. In 2021, it's been a bit of a roller coaster for me, but I've had a lot of fun on my channel trying to put out as many videos as I can. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say it in here. I was going to put it in the description box, but I am going to take a week off of posting on YouTube just to give myself a little bit of a break from, you know, kind of being go, go, go all of December, posting every other day, even though it was a lot more doable than trying to do every day, because I'm pretty sure I would have failed out a couple of times, but it was pretty consistent hard work. And with the holidays and all of my kids' birthdays in December in the mix, it was a little insane. So I am going to go ahead and take off that first full week, so from the 2nd to the 8th. I'll probably come back on the 10th or the 11th with a new video and just a little update for you guys. But yeah, with that said, that is going to do it for me. Thank you guys so very much for all of your support this month, this year. I really do appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the new year after about a week break, around the 10th or so. I'll see you guys then. Bye, guys.